posterior chain and elite with a little hint of a surprise. All right, guys and girls, here we are at elite. It is Monday and it's posterior chain for me. If you've been following along on my stories on Instagram, you'll know that I was considering adding a 6th day of training last week and adding a glute and hamstring day to Sunday. Well, by the time Saturday got around, I knew that I was gonna need a full off day on Sunday. So instead of adding a day, I simply just took a couple back exercises away, and I'll make those up later in the week on Friday. And then today, I'm gonna sub in hamstrings and glutes to finish up, to make this an entire posterior chain day. So I'm training from my traps to my calves. So it's one of those days where, honestly, if you can tell, I'm drenched in sweat and I'm soaked through 2 shirts and a hat, so it's a great day. So Chaz sadly couldn't get off work and I was ready to go. So I told him, I said, you know what, when you get here, you get here. And what we're gonna do is we're just gonna do a kind of a picture in picture. I'm gonna show you an exercise that I did. I'm gonna talk about what I did, and then I'll show you a screenshot of the Word document that I typed up of exactly what I did. So if you wanna replicate it, you can. And then obviously the second half of the workout he got on camera. So to start off for back, what I did was straight arm pull downs, and I did 3 feeder sets after 2 warm-up sets to get to my top end load, which is 130 pounds. From here, all I did was a crisp pulse set. So as many reps as I could, rest 20 seconds, as many reps as I could, rest 20 seconds, as many reps as I could, rest 20 seconds. Now, here's the key. Lower the weight. I went from 130 to 90, and then I pumped 20, and this was excruciating. So after those 20, I rested 20 seconds, I pulled the weight from 90 down to 80, and then I held an isometric contraction in the mid-range, squeezing my lats, turtle shelling my upper back. I held that for 20 seconds, and then I immediately stood straight up and grabbed the bar above me and did a dead hang for 20 additional seconds. So if you look at that, the totality of the iso hold was a 20-second contraction, 20-second stretch. So I view that like a 40-second iso hold for 1 working set. Next up, I did DY rows, and all I wrote down on my paper here was milk this exercise. I had no hard set plan. So I started with a plate each side and squeezed 10 hard reps. Then I added a quarter, did the same. Added 2 plates, did the same. 2 plates and a quarter, got 8, felt incredible. Then for my top end load, I knew I was gonna do 3 each side. So all I simply did here was do as many reps as I could to failure. Now with this, guys, what I really wanna think about is letting out with my lat. So think about scraping my elbow and forearm on the ground, and then a huge contraction. I got 9.5 reps each side there. Now, this is where the fun begins. I stripped a plate off each side, took about a minute rest, and then I did, like when I say strict, these were hyper strict 8 reps. And then I immediately stood up and did standing DY row, and this felt incredible. And with this one, I really focused on letting it out, fully stretching my lats. So you'll see 2 different clips here where I'm doing a really focused contraction, and then I'm doing the elbow brace standing version where I'm letting the lat out, getting a full stretch, and then still into a full contraction. Now, and then to finish this up after those 8, so I did 8 strict, 8 stretching, and then I set in the stretch for 5 seconds after my 8th rep. So at this point, my lats were absolutely screaming. Now, onto a superset. Oh my word, this was incredible. So I wanted to do a Swiss bar pull down, and I'm grabbing the widest grip here, and I'm just driving my elbows, trying to sit them down on top of my rib cage and squeeze my lats. So with this, I started with 120 pounds, and I did 15 reps, and then I immediately walked over to the seated cable row, and I had this set up. I don't know what this exercise is called. It feels like a Dante row to me. I saw Eric Janicki do this or Janicki, however you say it, on Instagram, and I've been hooked ever since. I've done it 3 weeks in a row now. So it's just a chest supported, big stretch, big contraction on my low lats. It feels great. So you'll see the video of me doing this here at West Main, and my word, like I'm doing it with a rope here. I did it with a strap here. Felt incredible, great contraction. I did 3 rounds of this rotation, going up in weight on each one. So I went up to 150, dropped down to 12 on the pull downs, went up to 80 on the Janicki rows, got 10. Then I went back for my final and 3rd set, and this is where it got real fun. I did 170 pounds for 8 with the widest grip. Then I went over and went to failure with 100 pounds on the seated cable row, really stretching my lats out. And I'm telling you, it felt like it was gonna rip off my rib cage. And I said, I got a little bit more left in the tank here. So I went back over to the pull down station, dropped the weight to 100, grabbed the most narrow grip. And when I say I was pumping reps like a freaking piston in Branch Warren style, that's exactly what I was doing. And my lats were lit up after that. So if you look at 3 total rounds of that superset, pyramiding up in weight, down in reps, and the last was a little bit of a drop set. All right, now this is when Chaz showed up and he said, hey, I can film now. And I said, listen, you can go work out if you want, I don't care. And he's like, no, let's film. And I said, yeah, you're right, let's film. I'll look freaky as fuck. All I want to do is work up to a hard set and then do a drop set. So I did 2 field sets, one with a 70, one with a 100. Both felt great, both felt me locked in. And then with the 120, I did 10 on my left arm, then dropped down to the 70s and did 8 to 10 more. And I'm telling you, the pump and pain there was so excruciating. I had to move my feet position around because it felt like my lat was gonna cramp, and I needed to get out of that position for a split second to get back in and keep getting more reps. So then I rested a minute and did the other arm, same thing, 120s for, I think it was 10, and then I got 70s for 8. All right, after the dumbbell rows, I needed to get into some hamstring work. So I went over to the lying leg curl, and I just wanted to murder reps. So I did a hard set of 15, went up in weight, did a hard set of 12, went up in weight, and then for my third set, I wanted to make this just excruciating. So I had 120 pounds on the stack, and I told Chaz, whenever I get full range of motion, I want to match with partials. So if my memory is correct, I got 10 and 10, 5 and 5, 6 and 6. And with each one of those, so I went 120, then I went 80, and then I went 60. And that was the perfect weight de-escalation. And if you look there, guys, like I'm just trying to get somewhere around 20 total reps with full range and then match it with partials. The main thing here is burn those hamstrings up. Make them work, make them contract, feel the pump, feel the pain, and that's what's gonna drive in that detail and just nastiness in terms of condition and density of that muscle tissue. When I turn to the side, that'll make something my hamstring hang. So do not cheat this exercise. Next up is going to be onto the leverage piece for some RDLs. This is a nice little carryover because I'm getting all three. I'm getting hamstrings, I'm getting erectors, and I'm getting glutes. So what I want you guys to think about here is on the stretch, drive those hips back, stretch the hamstring, use the erectors to power out of the hole, and then finish with the glute on a hard contraction. I did 1 plate for 8, 2 plates for 8, and those are both just field sets, and then 3 plates. This isn't real failure, guys. I'm not trying to like break records. I just want a hard set of 12. Then on to some glute bridge. So I worked my way up to 3 plates, and then I did a drop set. So with these, I'm doing Chaz glute bridge. If you know, it's just the top portion of it. I'm trying to really shorten and fire that glute as hard as I can. So 315, as many reps you can. Then Chaz set his camera down, pulled a plate off each side. I do as many reps as I can, and by this point, like, I'm getting like full ass lock. Like my glutes are still pumped from it. Then I rested a minute, we pulled another plate, and then I did 5-second contractions until I could no longer hold and maintain that position, and then I pumped reps until I dropped on the ground. So 2 total work sets there, both felt just absolutely wonderful and had my glutes absolutely screaming. And then to finish today up here, guys, I did 2 rounds of reverse hypers for somewhere north of 15 reps, supersetted with hanging leg raises. And with this is just to get my spine lengthened, to also work the hamstring, the glute, the erectors, and then the hanging leg raises are just somebody to get some ab work in to loosen my lower back up. Because for me, this is a lot of lower back volume when you consider we did the RDLs and we also got the reverse hyper. So, you know, I want to make sure that I keep that good spine good and healthy so that I don't go to the chiropractor hobbling around and not be able to walk right. So if you look at this totality of the workout, this is what I would consider just an incredible posterior chain day. I did a pull down for activation. I did a good hard row with a DY row. I did a superset for pump, and then I really hammered to finish my lat and upper back work with a dumbbell row drop set. Then you get into the leg curls to work the hamstring. Then you get an RDL to kind of tie the 2 hamstring glutes back together. And then you finish with a direct glute stimulus with the Chaz glute bridge. And then lastly, this is just preventative health with the reverse hyper and the hanging leg raise. So the totality of this workout, I'm beyond pleased with how it came out. I am drenched in sweat. I am burning up calories. And dear God, is it time to go home and eat yet? I am hungry. So if you like this video, guys, like, share, subscribe. Thank you so much for being flexible. Like, even though we missed the first 3 exercises technically, it's not a big deal. Like, you can still follow this, still get a good workout, and take this, apply it to your next week, and get to growing today. So if you like this video, like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, Chaz and I.